see you guys in the dark.
About 2.5 years ago today, I recently moved to a new city in Canada. I was 21 at the time, and single as I just got out of a shitty relationship. So moving was a fresh start for me. In a new city where I knew nobody really except my one guy friend, who we will call Mike. Mike didn't live directly in the city though, but we hung out a lot. Since I was single in the new city, I downloaded Tinder. Everyone my age has this dating app. Or hookup app, really. I don't usually do dating apps, but I was bored and was looking for a little fun. Remember the I don't do dating apps thing once you reach the end of the story? This is the exact reason I don't ever go on them anymore. So I get on there, and I match with a guy who we would call Andrew. So I didn't message him first or anything, because I was doing a lot of swiping and honestly went on with my day doing other things, as I just moved and needed to unpack. So a couple of hours later, I check my phone and see Andrew has messaged me several times, saying hi, complimenting me, and he even sent a funny pickup line. I always appreciate a good pickup line, as I have a good sense of humor about mostly everything, and don't take many things that seriously. Keep this in mind too. So I replied, and we got to chatting. He eventually asked for my number, so I gave it to him. It was fine from there, really. Nothing weird was said. So he asked to take me to dinner, and for drinks. I agreed, and we met 3 days later. We met in a public place, obviously. I saw him outside a restaurant, leaning on his car. It was a really nice car. He asked me to take a photo of it with the sun setting in the background. I said okay, sure, why not? Thought it was random, but whatever. We go inside and eat dinner, drink a little bit, and it was a really good date. So I invited him back to my apartment to keep the night going, I guess you could say. It wasn't super late, and we were really hitting it off. We get to my door, and I was a little tipsy as I drank 3 glasses of wine. I wasn't drunk though, but I kept forgetting my code to my door, as I had just moved there. So I had it on my phone, and I got us in. The rest of the night wasn't weird at all. I woke up beside him the next day, majorly hungover. Dumb on my part. And we obviously had fun the night before. He left, and all was good. I really didn't want to pursue anything further, so I texted him and said last night was great, but I'm not looking for anything serious right now. He freaked out on me, saying that I was wrong for leading him on, and whatever else was said. Okay, fair. You can have your opinions. That's by all means fine. So I ghosted him. Just didn't really feel like talking anymore after that, as he had said degrading and subjective things. I left it at that and moved on with life as we all would. About a week goes by, and I'm out running errands to finish the last details of getting my apartment finished. I came home, and he's sitting in my living room with flowers and a bottle of wine I was drinking at dinner. I was immediately like, how did you get in here? As you need a key fob, and obviously my door code. The door code thing, after I thought about, didn't surprise me. He remembered it as I had it out, and in the open on my phone. But the key fob, I was confused about how he got the extra one I have. He admitted to taking it when I was asleep, when he stayed the night. I was really mad someone would do that after not even knowing someone for like 16 hours. So I kicked him out, and I was a little shook up about the situation. I blocked his number immediately after he kept apologizing. I just couldn't forgive him after doing that, and invading my home, which is a safe space. Fast forward to 2 weeks later. I was on a little getaway in Seattle with my friend Mike. I posted Instagram stories on the trip, and I forgot until after he followed me, after we matched on Tinder. This is a common thing guys do on Tinder. So he knew I was gone for a weekend. Mike and I are coming back to my place to drop my bags off and chill for a little bit at my apartment. I walk into my apartment with Mike this time, and Andrew was on my couch with a girl. I was completely in shock. He got in again. The girl even had the audacity to say, "Who are you, and why are you in Andrew's apartment?" I lost my mind on both of them and asked him how the fuck he got in again. He had no made-up story this time. He just flat out didn't know what to say except for, "I didn't know when you'd be back, so I've been staying here with blank. Sorry, I forgot this girl's name. Mike was mad at him too, at the situation, and as I told him all about it weeks ago, I demanded to know how he got into my apartment again. He said he made multiple copies of the key fob after he took it. My heart completely sank, and I threatened to call the cops if they didn't get out and give me every key fob that he copied. I was pissed and felt so invaded of my space. About a month goes by, and I was still thinking about it every once in a while. He was blocked on every social media I could find him on. I thought he was gone, until I randomly saw him in places, more and more frequently. Like it wasn't a one-off thing. It was at least 7 times, and I was in public every single time. The last time, however, I was walking the seawall alone, and it was getting pretty late and dark out. It was about 9 p.m. in the beginning of June, and I stopped to tie my shoe, and when I stood up, he was right there. I panicked because I genuinely felt threatened by him at this point. He kept asking why I ghosted him and didn't accept him coming around anymore, meaning him letting himself into my apartment, and how I could be so mean to someone who he was so into. He kept trying to grab my arm to talk to me and started yelling. I was in tears because his next moves I had no idea about. Someone thankfully heard and intervened. I told them I was not okay, and they called the cops. He obviously ran away, and the police asked me to identify him. I gave them his name, and they couldn't find anyone with that name. So now it left me wondering if that was even his real one. I remember I had pictures of him and of his license plate in my phone. He had a nice car and wanted me to take a picture of it with my phone as the sun was setting behind it. Douchey, I know. So I gave them that info, and they told me the plates weren't even registered. Now I'm mind blown about the whole thing and very confused, even a little worried. They couldn't do a whole lot with what I provided, but they said that they would update me if they found anything, and to contact them if he gets into my apartment again, or if I saw him out again. I never did, thankfully, but to this day, I'm always looking over my shoulder for that stalker. I have since then moved and haven't seen him again. Last month I moved to another country where I didn't know anyone. Due to that, I had spent a lot of time alone and started to get bored. Although I didn't and don't like the concept of Tinder, I decided to create an account to meet people and spend hours swiping left and swiping right and having brief conversations with my matches. However, most of them were men that wanted to see me on that same day, which scared me a little bit. Our story begins when I matched with a 30-year-old girl who didn't wait too long to send me a hi, nor to ask me for my phone number. I, who had never used the app before, thought that it was normal, and gave my phone number to her without having spoken at all. That was my first mistake. At first, everything seemed normal. The girl, which name was Anna, sent me voice notes. We talked briefly and in superficial ways about ourselves. She seemed very, very interested in talking to me since on several occasions she would double text me when I didn't answer quickly. And I'm not going to lie, I found that curious. However, I paid no attention to it. The second day of talking to her, she asked me to meet her somewhere. And even though our conversations had been very superficial, I said yes, and we set a place and an hour. Hours before we meet, I regretted it, deleted Tinder, and sent her an apology message. That was where things got weird. She texted me that it was fine, but a few minutes later, she sent me several messages and deleted them within a second so that I couldn't read them. A couple of hours later, she tried to video call me. I didn't answer and told her that I was busy. In spite of that, she called me again and again. I kept saying that I was busy, but still, she called me twice at 2 a.m. By this time, I was out and drunk, and I blocked her. I felt a little bad about it, but come on, I'm a woman in her early 20s, living in a foreign country. So at the same time, I felt relief that it was over. Except that it wasn't. I woke up to a hello from an unknown number, which profile picture in a WhatsApp was one of an old woman. I asked him who it was, and in less than a minute, I received an answer. It said, "Hi, it's Diana. This is my dad's number. Why did you block me? Did I annoy you?" Even in spite of how bizarre that was, I tried to empathize with her and answered with the truth. Again, she told me that it was fine, and I blocked her dad's number. In less than 2 hours, I received another message from another unknown number. It said, "Hi, it's Diana. Why do you keep blocking me? I need to talk to you. Please text me." At this point, I no longer find it funny. I tell her that I am not interested in talking to her, and she literally tells me, "I need to tell you something. There's a girl who is harassing me. She does black magic." I repeat that I am not interested, and she goes, "Like." "You don't believe me, do you?" And I blocked her, again, for the third time. Anyways, I really don't know if this was some kind of weird joke, but I think I can say that my first experience using Tinder was tragic. I wonder if it's always this way. Though, because I've been thinking about downloading the app again, at least I know that next time I shouldn't share my phone number with someone I haven't talked to at all. Let's hope for the best. And Diana, please don't try to contact me again. This story all happened in the last 3 weeks, and the final part, hopefully, just took place this morning. So to set the stage, I'm a single dad with a daughter who is about to turn 3. I don't really have time to go out and meet people, but I decided to put myself out there, so I made a Tinder profile. I had a few decent dates, but nothing too special. Then about 3 weeks ago, I matched with a new person. She lived about 30 minutes from me and looked cute, so I messaged her. We started talking, and she gave me her number. We texted for about a week or so, and things seemed pretty great. We both seemed to be on the same page about things, in that neither of us wanted to rush into anything serious, but having a friends with benefits would be nice. So we decided to spend an evening together. The first evening went well, and we got along great. We did the same thing a few days later, and again, everything went just fine. But after about 2 weeks, it became clear that she wanted to start an actual relationship, and I wasn't ready to commit to that. I made that clear, and she seemed to understand and accept it. After some of the things she said, though, I was seeing some little red flags, and I wasn't sure if she was actually going to respect my wishes and not try to move things forward into a serious relationship. And there were a number of things she said that made me think that she was a bit emotionally unstable. So I decided to take a few days to think about things and decide what I wanted to do. We had been texting at least a little bit every day, and I felt like the daily contact was not helping to convince her that I was serious when I said that I wanted to take things slow and not jump into a relationship. So on a Friday morning, I was texting her, and then just kind of stopped replying. I didn't think much about it since I was really busy anyways. She came to my house that night, just showed up unannounced. I was polite and made up an excuse about my phone being broken. She claimed that she had showed up because she was worried something had happened to me, since I'd always replied right away before, but her showing up at my house was another huge red flag. I figured the broken phone excuse would benefit me, giving me time to evaluate this new warning sign and decide what to do. I told her that I was fine, but that I would be MIA for a little bit until I got a new phone. I don't have a home internet connection either, so basically all contact with me would cease until I reinitiated. She seemed to be fine, apologized for intruding on my evening, and left right away. So I didn't give it much thought, other than it reaffirming my concern that she was becoming obsessed. In the next few days, she sent a few messages, basically just checking to see if I had gotten a new phone. There was nothing too crazy, but it was still worrying. And with everything else, it told me that I needed to cut things off completely. That leads me to last night. It was 6 days since she had shown up at my house, and I haven't contacted her so far. I was hoping that my silence would send a message, or that maybe she'd forget about me and move on to someone else, but that was not the case. I went to sleep around 12 a.m. and woke up at 6. Upon looking at my phone, I saw literally 15 message notifications, 6 phone calls, and a voicemail. The text started off saying, "I know you're probably asleep, but I saw you accepted a friend on Facebook 2 days ago, so I wanted to know why you've been ignoring me," and then went to pleading me to answer the phone, and finished with, "If you don't talk to me, I'm going to come to your house." This whole thing took place between 1 and 2 a.m. The voicemail was just her, sobbing into the phone and screaming, "Why are you doing this to me?" Keep in mind, I've known this girl for less than a month, and we've only been on 2 dates in that time. At this point, I was pretty freaked out, so I called a friend of mine asking for advice. My friend told me to just be blunt and tell her that threatening to come to my house in the middle of the night was completely inappropriate, that she's acting crazy, and not to contact me again. So here I am this morning, after sending her a long text, kindly but firmly telling her that her behavior wasn't acceptable, and that she was not to contact me again. Update. For everyone who is worried for my safety, and everyone who sees where I'm coming from, thank you, and I'm just fine. For everyone who is saying that I'm a jerk, I give you that. I should have been honest when she came to my house instead of making up an excuse. I fully admit to that. I'm not saying I handled things correctly, but honestly, I would have never written about this in the first place if she had just calmly asked to talk about things. This whole thing happened in the middle of the night, so I never knew she was upset until it was all over. But if you think her reaction was normal, I'll tell you what she said about her own actions. She did reply, apologizing for her actions, saying that she understood why I was not comfortable continuing things with her after waking up to that, and telling me that she appreciated my honesty and that she knows that she needs help, and she is actively seeking therapy to deal with her issues. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos, and become a stalker of the night, and I'll see you next time.